the sun. The sun is always up in the skies. And today we are going to look at the benefits that we get from the sun. Okay, I haven't forgotten the homework that you were given the last time. So let's go through and mark. The first question is, what is a cyclic event? What is a cyclic event? And the answer is it is an order of events that is repeated again and again. It is an order of events that is repeated again and again. 2. Give 2 cyclic events and their time period. Give 2 cyclic events and their time period. So, Kate, you looked at day and night as one of the examples of cyclic events. Day and night. And day and night occurs every 24 hours. 12 hours day and 12 hours night. So day and night is 1. And then 2, we also talked about dry and wet season. Dry and wet season. And this occurs every year. Dry and wet season. And the wet season, we said it's also known as the rainy season. And I hope you all witness the small rains that we are all experiencing these days. So the 2 cyclic events are day and night and dry and wet season. Dry and wet season. Now let's move to today's topic. But before we do that, let's again visit our lesson objectives. Our lesson objectives. By the end of this lesson, Kate, you'll be able to, 1, mention 2 things about the sun. Mention 2 things about the sun. And then 2, give 2 main uses of the sun. Give 2 main uses of the sun. And then the third one, state 2 everyday uses of the sun. You state everyday 2 uses of the sun. So the first one, you mention 2 things about the sun. And then 2, you give 2 main uses of the sun. And then 3, you state 2 everyday uses of the sun. So kids, I believe if you go through the lesson with me, you'll be able to achieve all these objectives. Now let's begin the lesson with introduction to the sun. Introduction to the sun. You always see the sun. Kate, let's learn 1 or 2 things about the sun. 1. The sun is a big star. The sun is a big star. Kate, there are lots of stars, but the sun is the one close to us. So you always see the sun in the skies. And the sun is a big star. During the night, you see lots of stars in the night, and the sun is part of the stars. The sun is a big star. So know that the sun is a star. Okay. 2. The sun as a star produces its own light and heat. The sun as a star produces its own light and heat. So the sun up there is a natural source of light and heat to the earth. The sun as a star is a natural source of light and heat to the earth. During the day, you see how bright the weather becomes, or you see how bright everywhere. You normally go to school, people go to work, and any place that they want to go during the day because the sun gives us light. We always also feel the heat of the sun because the sun produces us heat, and this heat is used for many things. So the sun as a star produces its own light and heat. Kate, if I tell you to look at the sun, what direction will your eyes or head turn into or turn to? It will turn up like this because the sun is found in the sky. So Kate, the sun that we see is always found in the sky. If I tell you to look at the sun, you will not look down. You will not go and look inside the water bodies. You always raise your head up and then you look at the sun in the sky, because the sun is found in the sky. Then, Kate, another thing is that the sun does not move, but it is the earth that always revolves around the sun. The earth always moves around the sun. As you see it, you see the earth moving around the sun. So the sun does not move. It is the earth that always revolves around the sun or moves around the sun. And then another thing about the sun is that it gives us 12 hours of light. 12 hours of light. When we're treating the cyclic event, we said that day and night is an example of cyclic events. And we have 12 hours of day because of the light of the sun. And as we said in that lesson, the earth rotates on its axis. So as it rotates, any part of the earth facing the sun will experience daytime. So the sun gives us 12 hours of light, and we call that time day. Good. Now let's move to the main benefit of the sun. The main benefit of the sun. What do we get from the sun? That if you don't get those things, life will be very difficult for us on earth. So we are going to look at the main benefit of the sun. One, the sun gives light to the earth. So you see the sun up there, and you see the earth in blue and green. And you see that the sun gives light. You see the light around the sun. You see the light around the sun. And we use this light to do many things. Kate, assuming the sun was not there, you see how dark the world will be. We will always experience dark. When it's night time, around from 6:30 p.m. going, you always switch on the lights when you want to do something, because the place is dark. So assuming there is no sun, it means the world will be very, very dark. So the sun is very important to us because it gives us light. And because of this, when you are walking through the day, you don't need any source of light like candle or torchlight, because the sun is bright and you can see everything clearly. So one of the main benefits of the sun is that it gives us light. It gives the earth light. One of the main benefits. Okay, let's look at another benefit. All plants use sunlight to prepare their own food. All plants use sunlight to prepare their own food. So you see the plants there, very busy cooking. Kate, do you know how to cook? I believe you also know how to cook. So look at how busily the sunflower is cooking. And you see the sun up here. You see the sun providing heat. Anytime we are cooking at home, if you have your rice, if you have your cassava, if you have your yam, before you can eat it, you have to cook it or boil it. And you need source of heat to cook. Any food that you prepare, you need source of heat. Either you use charcoal, or you use firewood, or you use gas, or you use electric stove. All these things provide you with heat so that you can cook any food that you want to cook. In the same way, Kate, in the same way, the plants also need sunlight. And as we talked about, the sun gives us a source of heat. And the plants use this source of heat from the sunlight to prepare their own food. So you see that if you see the image there with the sunflower cooking, you see that the fire at the base of the pot serves as the sun. That is the heat of the sun. And then they use water and then carbon dioxide. They get the water through the roots. When it rains, some of the rainwater drips into the soil and then they use it. When we also breathe, we bring out carbon dioxide, and the plant use the carbon dioxide. That is what is called the CO2. The CO2 means carbon dioxide. So when we breathe in oxygen, we breathe out carbon dioxide, and the plant use this carbon dioxide to prepare their own food. So you see that water plus carbon dioxide, that is what the plant is cooking inside the pot. So if you look at this diagram, the sunlight is the source of heat. They cook with water as we also cook with water, and then they also use carbon dioxide. If you look at the pot, you see that some vapor will be coming out. As we also cook, we see vapor coming out of our pot. In the same way as they are cooking, you also see vapor coming out, and that vapor is oxygen. That gas you see there is oxygen. So the oxygen that comes out from the cooking of the plant is what we also use when we breathe in. So you see that without the sun, the plants cannot prepare their own food. In the same way, without our firewood, our charcoal, our gas, our electric stove, we cannot also cook. If your mom tells you that today you eat cassava with contomere stew, and then you open your bowl and then you see that the cassava was not boiled. In the same way, the contomere is fresh in your bowl. Can you eat it? No, because you need a source of heat to cook that food. In the same way, the sun also provides plants with source of heat for them to prepare their own food. Let's look at after the plant finish cooking. What are some of the things that come out from the cooking? One, we get fruits from when they finish cooking. Their products, some of them are the fruits. I can see mango here, I can see apple here, can see pineapple up there, can see banana there. So after they cook, this is what we get from plants after they are cooking. This is what we get. We get fruits from plants after they are cooking. In the same way, some plants also provide us with vegetables. I can see cabbage there, I can see tomato, I can see carrots, I can see pepper. These are all some of the products of plants after they are cooking. And I love the way the plant is cooking, adding salt and spices. As you see, the plant is busily cooking because the sun provides source of heat to the plant. We also get some foodstuffs like plantain, we can get cassava, we can get cocoyam here, can get the cassava here, the yam is there, you can see the plantain up there. So these are some of the food that we also get from plants after they are cooking. And Kate, you see that animals and human beings depend on the food from plants to grow and get energy. Animals and human beings depend on food from plants to grow and get energy. So you see the animals, they're busily eating the grass. After cooking, we also take the leaves. If you take contomere, for instance, they are the leaves of a plant, and we use them. In the same way, some animals also eat plants. And it is after the cooking by the plant that these animals also get food to eat. Okay, we also enjoy some of the product from the plant. As you see the boy there busily eating banana from plants. He's also enjoying banana from plants. So Kate, you see how important the sun is in the life of plants. If plants are not able to cook their food so that we can also get something to eat, we will all die. The animals will die, and then we human beings will also suffer. We will die because most of our food that we eat, we get them from plants. So plants use sunlight to prepare their food, and it's one of the main benefits of the sun to the earth. Okay, the sun also provides heat that keeps us warm on earth. The sun gives us heat that keeps us warm on earth. Without the sun, the world would have been very cold. When it is raining and the weather is very cold, you see that you wear your sweater, you wear your pullover, you use cloth to cover yourself when you are sleeping because the weather is cold. Because during the night, for instance, that we feel the coldness, the sun wouldn't be there because our parts of the earth will turn away from the sun. So we will be experiencing night, and it's normally very cold in the night. So without the sun, you will see that the whole 24 hours, the weather will feel very cold. And you know that too much cold can also bring some diseases. So the sun provides heat that keeps us warm on earth. The sun provides heat that keeps us warm on earth. Kids, the energy that is being derived from the sun, or the energy we get from the sun, is called solar energy. The energy we get from the sun is called solar energy. And kids, this solar energy can be used for many things. This solar energy can be used for many things. So if the solar energy can be used for many things, then how can the sun provide that energy? Kate, you see this panel over here. It is called solar panel. That blue board that you see there is called solar panel. Kate, I said it's called what? Solar panel. So you see the sun shining on the solar panel. This solar panel will take in all the energy from the sun. So this solar panel will take all the energy from the sun. And when this solar panel takes the energy from the sun or the solar panel will use this energy to charge this solar battery. So you see a battery up here, this blue battery, and you see that the solar panel is connected to the battery. You see another small one here, and the solar panel is connected to this battery. So the solar panel takes the energy from the sun, and then the solar panel gives this energy to the batteries. And that is how it works. The sun shines on the solar panel, and then this solar panel will convert the sun's energy into solar energy, and then it will give it to these batteries. And Kate, what are these batteries used for? You can use it to power a radio. So some radio operates on solar. So you see the solar at the top here. So the sun will shine here, and then it will charge the batteries inside the radio, and then the radio can play. You also have a torchlight. So you see the solar panel there that charges the battery inside the torchlight so that you can use it at night. We also see a fan here. So there are batteries inside the fan. So if the solar panel beside the fan gets the sunlight, it will convert the sunlight to charge the batteries inside the fan, and you can use it. So you see that one of the main benefits of the sun is also that it converts the energy. A solar panel converts its energy and then give it to batteries that can be used to power all these devices that you see here. So the sun also serves as a source of energy to this gadget. Kate, I believe you have also seen this. And another example that we can get is street light. Street light. I believe you have seen one of these street lights before that uses solar panel. So this street light doesn't use electricity, or the main electricity we get from Akosombo Dam and the Bui Dam and the thermal plants that we have. They get their energy from the sun. So you see that the sun will shine on the solar panel, and there's a battery inside this lamp. So when the sun shines on it, it will convert the energy into solar energy, and it will give it to the light. And in the night, you see the lamp shining as you see, or you see the light there shining. So without even electricity, the sun can provide us with energy to power all this. So if you see any street light with a panel at the top, know the use of the panel, that the panel draws energy from the sun and then use it to operate these things. So one of the main benefits of the sun is that it's able to provide us with solar energy that can be used to operate gadgets. The sun also helps us to get rain. That is another benefit of the sun, the main benefit of the sun. The sun helps us to get rain. So you see that it is raining. And these days, we most of the time get rain showers because we are experiencing some little the sun. These rains will not occur. Yes. Are you surprised? Without the sun, you will not get any rain. So Kate, let's look at how the sun helps us to get rains that farmers use for their crops, and also we also use rainwater for a lot of things. Let's look at how the sun helps us to get rain. Kate, in the previous lessons we learned about evaporation, and we said evaporation is when water changes into water vapor. So you see that when the sun shines on water bodies, on the earth or on the ground, it will all evaporate into the sky as you see. All the water is evaporating. That is stage 1. Stage 2, we also talked about condensation, where water vapor changes back to water. So you see that as you go higher in the sky, the air there becomes very cold. So when the warm air, that is the vapor, meets the cold air up there, it changes the vapor into drops of water as you see. And these drops of water mix up the clouds. So as you see. So these drops of water will come together, and when they become very heavy, you see that it will rain. It will fall on the ground as rain. You will go over again. It starts with evaporation, where water changes into water vapor. So you see when the sun shines, some of the water evaporates into the sky. You see the water on the ground there, the sun will shine on it, and then gradually the heat of the sun will allow the water to evaporate, or make the water evaporate into the skies. That is the first stage. And the second stage, when, as I said, when you go up higher, the air there becomes cold. So it changes the water vapor into droplets of water as you see. So the water vapor now changes back to water. And these drops of water forms the clouds. So Kate, the clouds that you see up there are made up of tiny drops of water, as you see. So when these tiny drops of water come together, you see that the cloud will be becoming darker. It will become darker. And when the drops of water becomes very heavy, then it will drop on this earth as rain. So you see that before we can get rain, it starts with the sun through evaporation. It starts with the sun. So without the sun, it would have been very difficult to get rain without the sun. So the main benefit, one of the main benefits of the sun too, is that it helps us to get rain. Kate, in some of the lessons that we will have, we will go deep into how rain is formed. But here, know that the sun starts the process. Good. Now let's move on to everyday benefits of the sun. Right now we have gone through the main benefits, that without the sun, it would have been very difficult. If you look at the main benefits we talked about, plants using it to prepare their food, we use it as a source of energy through solar, it keeps the earth warm. You see that without the sun, we would have suffered on earth. After getting all this, benefit. Let's look at the everyday benefit we get from the sun. Every day, what do we get from the sun as human beings? One, we go to school to learn during the day because the sun gives us light to see. So you see that these children are learning, and if you look at the girl, the girl is looking at the blackboard because the sun is so bright that they can see everything. So one of the everyday benefits is that it gives us light to see. Two, children play during the day. The sun gives them light to see also. You normally find a lot of kids playing during the day because there is much light. And then traders also go to the market to sell during the daytime because you can see everything clearly. So you see the benefits of the sun in everyday activities, in some of these everyday activities. So when you go to the market, you can see everything clearly. If I want to buy tomato, if I want to buy fish, immediately I turn my eye, I see these foodstuffs, I see this, I see that, because the sun gives us light to see. We also use the sun to dry our washed clothes. When you finish washing your dirty clothes, you go and hang it in the sun. As you see the sun here with a drying line with clothes on it. Why didn't you hang it inside your room? Because you want the clothes to dry early. So you go and dry it in the sun. So we use the sun in our everyday activities to dry our washed clothes. To dry our washed clothes. Okay, farmers also use the sunlight during the day to dry their farm produce. So you see these women there drying their farm produce. And what we have here is cocoa. What we have here is cocoa. They are drying their cocoa beans. These ladies are drying their cocoa beans. Some also use it to dry their fish. Those are the fishing communities. They use the sun to dry their fish. Some also use it to dry cassava, and this dried cassava can be used to prepare konkonte. So some also use it to dry cassava. Some also use the sun to dry their pepper, and sometimes this can be used to prepare powdered pepper. So you see that farmers in their day-to-day activities also use the sun to dry their farm produce. Okay, the sun also gives us vitamin D as human beings. We get vitamin D. So the sun is known as the sunshine vitamin. It gives us vitamin D. And this vitamin D helps the body to build and maintain our bones. It gives us calcium. It also is a source of calcium that helps the body to build and maintain bones. So when do we actually get this vitamin D from the sun? Okay, when do we actually get it? From 7 a.m. in the morning, between 7 a.m. in the morning and 10 a.m. in the morning. That is where we can get the vitamin D from the sun. From 11 a.m. going, if you stand in the sun too much, it can be harmful. So early morning, when you leave home to go to school and you are walking through the sun, you're able to get vitamin D from the sun. But from 11 going, when the sun becomes very hot, that one is harmful. So when you want to get this vitamin D, it's between 7 a.m. in the morning to 10 a.m. in the morning. Good. Okay, we have gradually come to the end of the lesson. We have gradually come to the end of the lesson, and I believe you have been told much about the sun. First, we looked at something about the sun. We said the sun is a big star. The sun is a natural source of heat and light. And then the sun, the earth also goes around the sun. And the earth going around the sun helps us to get day and night. We also looked at main uses of the sun. That plants use it to prepare their food. And we also get energy from this food. The energy from the sun is called solar energy. And that can be used to power a lot of gadgets that we saw, the torchlight, the fan, the radio. We also said that the sun keeps us warm on earth. It provides heat that keeps us warm on earth. Then we also looked at some of the everyday uses of the sun. Some of the everyday uses. We go to school during the day because the sun gives us light. Traders go to the market because the sun gives them light. Children play because the sun gives them light. Farmers use it to dry their farm produce because the sun gives them heat to dry their farm produce. We also dry our washed clothes in the sun because the sun gives us heat. So Kate, this is what we went through in today's lesson. And before we leave, let's take this assignment. 1. State 2 main uses of the sun. State 2 main uses of the sun. And then 2. Give 2 everyday uses of the sun. Give 2 everyday uses of the sun. So 1, you state 2 main uses of the sun, and then 2, you give 2 everyday uses of the sun. Kids, we have gradually come to the end of the lesson, and I know today you have learned a lot about the sun. If you went through the lesson with me, I believe you can do this homework and get all the answers correct. Until we meet again next time, this is your teacher, Ernest Atto Benzel. Bye-bye.